This a little bit. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it. I want to talk a little bit about what happened yesterday with the protest turn riots, and not really so much about what happened in them, but I want to talk about like some of the hypocrisy that has been going down on both sides of the aisle, and it made me sad to see my side of the aisle, which is the right side, if you're not aware, kind of stoop to a level that we have spent the past 2 years or better condemning. So, anyways, but I do want to start with the left side. Guys, I've been on Facebook all day today, and seen a lot of posts, a lot of like, who's doing it now type thing. Let me make something really clear. The left has been condoning violence in cities for months now. I mean, we're going on a year now. We have to be. We spent part of the summer into the fall with cities having protests and riots every single night. And this is something y'all guys condone. Most of your leaders egged it on. You had leaders like Maxine Waters saying if you find them in grocery stores, run them out. You had leaders like Nancy Pelosi talking about whether or not there's going to be riots, maybe there should be type thing. So don't act like this is a new thing or that you're pissed off about this, because it's really something of your design. It's kind of your forte. I don't approve of any of it. If you want to peacefully protest, I'm all for it. I love peaceful protests. We're, enacting our First Amendment rights. It's number one for a reason, right? So peaceful protest all night long. When it turns violent, that's a problem, obviously. And I know a lot of people on the left who were condoning these past protests and riots. I know what you're going to say. You're going to be like, well, this is for our riots were for equality and against police, and your riots are because Cheeto lost or something like that. I know that's the narrative being pushed. But the reality is, what you have to understand, the point you're missing is that whether you believe it or not, the fact is these people that went and protested or rioted, they do believe it. And that's really important. A lot of people forget that just because you disagree with somebody, it doesn't mean they're making this up in their head or it's a fantasy. They actually believe these things are happening, right? So they believe that there was fraud and the election was stolen, right? And I'm not saying it was or wasn't. I don't want to get into that, but the fact is they believe this, right? Just like the left believes that cops are out there just lynching black folks. They fully believe this, and this is why their protests are rioting. And we could do a better job on both sides of the aisle of remembering that these people are really, they're in on this. They believe this, and they're not just making this up in their head. And there's questions on election integrity, so that's why they question it. Backed by certain rhetoric, anything can be escalated. That happens on both sides as well. Just like you guys on the left say, well, black people are out there getting lynched by police, when that's obviously not true, but you guys believe this thing so much, and that's why you're willing to fight for it. So yes, the differences, on a fundamental level, they are different. One's fighting for racial equality, and you got the other side that was fighting for what they believe was, a stolen election. So anyways, just believe that they do believe that, they believe the government is corrupt. That's just what, everybody should believe that. People are corrupt, on an individual basis. You put them all in the halls of Congress or anything where they control their own paychecks and they control their own laws, then you really see some corruption. They say you'll find out the true colors of someone whenever you put them in power, so that's certainly true. Now, I'm done with the left. You jokers on the right. Okay, y'all are my people, all right? I'm highly disappointed in not only these protests that started out peaceful, turn riots. This, as I said at the beginning, this is something we've been fighting for, and then you just turn into the enemy, right? And, I don't want to use enemy as in like, we're all brothers and sisters here, in the States, so we need to stick with each other no matter what our beliefs are. But the opposing side, all right? You became what you've been fighting against, right? And then you're going to say, well, we've been putting up with it from the left for so long, and they burned down cities, so we can do the blah, 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 blah. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. There should have been zero violence at the Capitol. The reality of it is we had one really good chance to show that we can peacefully assemble for our cause and not start tearing shit up, right? One chance. And we fucked it up, okay? History is not gonna... Or, let me start with this. The left controls the media. The left controls the universities. The left controls social media. Y'all have to understand this, okay? This is going to go down as the worst thing in American history. In reality, it wasn't the worst thing in American history, right? The media is not going to spill out the right attacked the Capitol building, but I mean, is it any different than BLM burning down private businesses? That's not what they're going to do. They're going to say the racist right goes after a Capitol building to, under election fraud, whatever. They're going to spin it however they want. Social media, same thing. I mean, and the problem is we let them spin it. We didn't even have to make them clip videos or anything, although they're going to. We didn't give them that. We just said, here's a whole package. Take what you want and use it against us. That's dumb. You want to take 2 years and try to fight for, we have a small separation between Democrats and Republicans in the House. You want to fight in 2 years, try and narrow that gap? Not like that. Not like that. And I want to say that, rioting and protesting will only hurt your cause, but it worked for the left. But it's not going to work for us. I promise you it's not going to work for us. It's going to be written down differently. It's not going to be whenever the articles, I'm sure they're already hit, whenever they go, they used to say mostly peaceful protests, when there's cop cars that are Molotoved and private businesses are on fire and there's people laying dead in the streets from something as simple as stopping someone from stealing a TV from their friend's business, right? Those are going to be mostly peaceful protests. When the media puts this out, and this is going to be what they put out, riots at the Capitol building. That's how it's going to be remembered. It's not going to be remembered any other way. It's going to be remembered as Trump supporters lose and riot at Capitol building. Period. Now, unfortunately, somebody was shot, and I think they were escorted to the hospital where they later died. That's going to be blasted, of course. But you got to understand, back to the left controls all this stuff. You played right into their hands. Right into their hands. The only way we could have beat them is to play their game, but better, right? Go protest. Show that we can assemble in droves. We did it once. We went, I don't even remember where it was. Chad helped me out. Somewhere, and they all had guns and everything, and nobody got hurt, right? And the people on the right on these social media platforms who are defending it, saying we should have went further and all that, just stop. You're not helping us. You're not helping our cause. We don't need extremists in any political affiliation. Just stop. You're not doing any of us any favors. The hypocrisy is real, and it's happening on both sides. That's what I'm disappointed in my side of the aisle. I expect it from the left side of the aisle. Don't expect it from my side, but it's there, unfortunately. And people are freaking out right now about GOP leaders turning on Trump. Y'all got to understand, man. These people out here protesting and rioting and stuff, y'all are playing the short game, man. Y'all are pissed off about 4 years of Donald Trump and possibly 4 more years of Donald Trump. Y'all are playing the really short game, and it's really dumb. These politicians, they're politicians for a reason. They're 70 to 80-year-old politicians in office right now for a reason. They play the long game, okay? And y'all just acted a fool of yourselves. And you kind of shit on Republicans. If you're a Republican, you shit on conservatives across the board. Most of them are Republican. And the more and more you back it up and agree with the violence and all this, the more and more you play into their hands, because they're going to use this. That's exactly what they wanted. They didn't want us to peacefully protest. They didn't want us to assemble on Capitol Hill with signs and everybody go home safe. They wanted people to get hurt. They wanted buildings to be destroyed. They wanted this because it plays right into their game. and they can use it. And that's not even being like a conspiracy thing. That's just politicians, man. They use real world situations to their advantage at all times. And left-wing organizations are going to start to realize that, like BLM. I think they already have. They were calling, requesting meetings with Biden and all that. He hasn't, he hasn't responded to any of them that I know of. That could be wrong at this point, but they got so many demands, and the Democrats aren't going to give it to them. And they'll realize it. They'll realize that they were used, but then it doesn't matter if they realize it, because guess who's in control of all that information? The people who are going to tell you, well, yeah, but these guys attacked Capitol Hill and threatened Congress members, and everybody feared for their life and things like that. And then one person got killed, That's how it's going to be remembered. It's going to be remembered as the worst travesty against democracy. While they're continuing to muzzle us and censor speech and all that, and they're gonna look back on this little video footage of this 12-hour protest turned riot, and they're gonna say this is the worst thing on democracy. And if you say, well, they're gonna be like, all right, delete his account. Just deleted Trump's account, or banned it indefinitely. Whatever, may not have deleted it. I think Twitter did delete it. But that's neither here nor there. If they got their protections lifted, I wouldn't really give a crap if they banned anyone. But if you believe that this government is so corrupt and an election was stolen, the only way to fix that is revolution, because obviously voting won't work because it has been corrupt. And that's kind of what I was trying to point out earlier is if they believe that the government is so corrupt that they can rig an election, then that's what they're fighting for. All right, you got to understand that that's what they believe fully. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Left, right, center, up, down, I don't care who you are. If you don't think the government is capable of pulling something like this off, you're high. And you need to share. I swear, these people have been in so long, they know this system way better than you and I do. And if you don't think they could, I'm not saying they did, but if you don't think they could game this system, then you need to reevaluate your confidence in your government. It can happen, 100%. But anyways, I bet you most government officials would be really good at Among Us, since they're good at lying to us.